All right, Christine, thanks for joining me. It's been a great pleasure to work with you, get to know your team, and visit Girls Middle School. What a wonderful culture, what a wonderful school. For those folks who don't know much about it, we want to get a little bit about kind of the background of the school and where it's headed. But let's first start with a little about yourself and who you are as a leader and your background prior to coming to GMS.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and this opportunity at GMS. So I am a long-term middle school educator. I like to say I've been in middle school pretty much since 1981 when I was a middle school student, minus my time in high school and college. But other than that, I have been a middle school math teacher and director of technology, and I was a middle school director for 8 years prior to coming to GMS as the head of school. I've taught in both public and independent schools, primarily in the Bay Area. So I'm also a rare Bay Area native, born in San Francisco. Spent most of my professional career in the East Bay and lived in the East Bay, and now I am over here on the peninsula at GMS.
That's great. And actually a great segue to talking about the school. But before we get there, you have been in middle school, as you said, almost your entire life. What is it about middle school that both aligns to who you are, but also I think implicit in the mission of GMS? Why is that such an important year and time of a student's life, and kind of how how important it is for a school to be focused on middle school exclusively?
Well, it's actually one of the reasons that I was really drawn to GMS is the mission statement, because in the mission statement, it says like these crucial years in a young person's life. And these 3 years are there's tremendous growth that we see in kids in this time of life, and just the opportunities for them to really explore who they are as a person, as a student. I like to say that each individual year is experienced as its own separate lifetime, actually, with its own ups and downs and trajectories and learnings. We see kids come in 6th grade and they're still looking like children, right? And then when they leave us in 8th grade, they are young adults, sort of going off to high school, and just the amount of growth during that time, and to be able to shepherd and support and guide kids in their development in that way is really humbling, and so important, and oftentimes people will choose, the upper high school level or want to be with the little kids. And so I think when you find an institution where everybody is on board for the middle schooler, it's quite special.
Well, and the Girls Middle School, GMS, is very special. Having walked on your campus and stepped there in a foot, it is just such a magical a community, and everyone really is, I think, all on the same page, and yet also supporting 200 plus or minus individual students with their own passions and goals and dreams and talents. So walk somebody through kind of what it would be like to come onto campus, and a little bit about the highlights and the focal points for the school.
Well, one of the things that strikes you immediately, that struck me, is just the level of comfort that the kids are showing. They are just clearly, they're invited to be their authentic selves. So when you walk in the halls, you see kids who are just owning the place, and I say that in the best possible way, right? Like, we have something called 6th grade shared language, and one of the terms is like, this is our place. And we do so much intentionally so that the kids really kind of take that on. And I think that that's one thing that that you just see pretty immediately, just the comfort level that the kids have. And then within that, once they're safe and comfortable, then that is a place that's ripe for risk taking and trying new things and not being afraid to make mistakes, and just, plenty of opportunities for learning and growing in different areas.
And I saw that firsthand. The confidence that the students exude, and just clearly it is a place to be safe and explore. Take risks. It's amazing. thinking about sort of how the school has had a intersection with the extended community, and from an advancement perspective, from its roots, I think the school has had a greater mission, if you will, and I'm very impressed with that. Talk a little bit about kind of that the founding of the school and what that mission has been about in terms of serving a broad community, and how that ties to the advancement department and ultimately to this role in terms of what you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that is another one of the key reasons that drew me to the school, was this real intentionality and the foundation of the school built on diversity and the importance of diversity in the student body, and just this like shared belief that learning is more meaningful and richer. Learning takes place in a diverse setting. And the founder of the school, Kathleen Bennett, was so committed to this that she established a very robust scholarship program that now is called the Bennett Scholars, the Bennett Scholars Program. And every year we admit about 10 scholars to this program. And these students come from under-resourced local elementary schools, and oftentimes they will be the first in their family to attend college. And so it's a very unique program across independent schools that I'm aware of, and what I hear from other people as well. And I think that overt commitment is it's just part of the focus and the ethos of the school, so, but what that means for fundraising is a lot. So as a, as far as our philanthropy goes, we have an annual fund like most schools, and we aim to raise anywhere from $700,000 to $800,000 ish, right, with our annual fund. And then on top of that, it amounts to $1+ million to admit these Bennett Scholars. And so that's about $2 million, of philanthropy, just to put the numbers out there. And that's a heavy lift for a school of 200 students. But the community really comes together to make this happen. And that's because of this really strong commitment and common purpose of not only providing opportunities for students who may not otherwise be able to do it, but just understanding the importance of learning to, think critically and problem solve across differences, and just like the importance of being in a diverse learning environment.
Talk a little bit about kind of where things are headed in terms of, I think there's some big priorities for the school and some great opportunities, and you're about to celebrate a milestone and lots of things going on. And really, ultimately, how a director of advancement who will be stepping into this role later this year, where they would play a key partnership support for some of these major initiatives, and just ultimately what you're looking for in your next director of advancement.
Yeah, well, there's tremendous opportunity in this role. And it's another reason why I was so excited to come here, because the school is in a lot of ways at an inflection point. We're 25 years old. And I keep, saying that like, we're not a startup anymore, like we're ready to kind of step into adulthood as a school. And, what does that mean? We're going to be engaging in strategic planning next year. So the advancement director will be really critical in that process. And in addition to that, we are we are driving towards a new site. So right now we are leasing, really it's an office building that was repurposed to be a school, but it's just not sufficient for who we want to be for the next 25, 50 years. So there's lots of motivation and excitement at the board level, and also just at the greater community level. And so obviously the next advancement person will play a critical role in really pushing this forward, and really be a part of the visioning of what is GMS, what is the next chapter of GMS going to look like. So it's very exciting.
You mentioned the board, and I guess final question, talk about the strategic partnership that you've already had. And I mean, I've spoken to many of your trustees, such a great, passionate, committed group. And maybe just give a little indication as to how you see that partnership playing out. There are folks who seem ready and willing and able to help from an advancement perspective, but just that's always an important element, because the board stands behind a lot of the strategy and the vision. Give folks a little window into that element of the school.
Yeah, absolutely. I have been just completely impressed with the dedication of the board. One thing that is unique to know is that we have a board, I don't know, 24, it's a pretty large board, but I believe only 1 or 2 board members have students currently in the school. And that is very different than most schools where the board is made up primarily of current families. And, that's just like, to me, another indicator of the commitment and also like the sort of proof of outcome that most of our board members are prior alum families, right? And so they still feel so strongly about the school that they want to serve on the board. And we have a wide range of folks from many different industries. Right now, of course, there is a focus on real estate. So we have a few folks that are really kind of centered in that area and around fundraising, philanthropy, of course, and strategic thinking. So those are some areas that our board members bring, and it's been really fun and exciting and challenging. And the new advancement director will play a critical part in that.
Indeed. And as will you, and the board has spoken very highly of you, as have all the folks that I've talked to. So I know the next advancement director will have a great partner in their head of school as well. And looking forward to working with you the rest of this hiring season to conclude this search. But I just want to say thank you for taking your time right now, and appreciate your giving us some insights into GMS.
Yeah, thank you much. Thank you so much, Gabe.
You bet. Thank you.